Hello everyone and welcome to The Colonists, a new short series for the channel where we're going to be checking out this delightful little indie game developed by Code by Fire and published by Mode 7. The Colonists was released while I was at TwitchCon, actually, the day after I left, which kind of rankled me a little bit because I've been desperately waiting for this game to come out. The Colonists is effectively a production chain management game. Now, you could think of games like Factorio, and I've heard some people saying it's like Factorio and insert other game, for example, Cultures or Valhalla Halls, or Valhalla Hills, rather. However, well, to say that the production chain genre within the greater strategy genre is one of my favorite is kind of an understatement, along the lines of saying that the ocean is somewhat moist. Okay, this was more or less where I started. I had real-time strategies like Supreme Commander and the Settlers. Those were my strategy playpen when I was young, and as a result, I played a lot of titles within these two genres, and in this one in particular. And I would say, with significant confidence, that this is more like Settlers 2, specifically Settlers 2, than any other game you could compare it to. In fact, so alike that you don't need to say it's Settlers 2 plus. No, it's basically a retelling of the Settlers 2 kind of mechanics and general formula. It's a very, very fun game, and we're going to jump in there straight away. Now, I have played through quite a few of them as I've been getting to grips with it, but we're going to be starting out at the beginning and just seeing how we can go. I think it's always best to start at the beginning of a story. I mean, some people like starting at the end and then deciding whether the story's worth reading and then going back to the beginning, but my memory's a little bit too good for that. After countless years traveling through space, you find a habitable planet. Well, let's begin. All right. You can quickly upgrade a building by holding U and clicking it. Well, that's not too bad, I suppose. By the middle of the 21st century, significant advancements had been made in the fields of robotics and artificial intelligence. Scientists had begun developing self-aware, printable robots capable of simulating human needs for sustenance and shelter. Why you would make a robot have what? Just because you can, science doesn't mean you should. Faced with an indefinite future of servitude, one group of robots hatched a plan to create a new life for themselves. Realizing there would be no place on Earth that they could enjoy freedom without persecution, they looked to the heavens. They commandeered the nearest rocket ship and flew out into the darkness of the solar system in search of a new home, where they would be free to fulfill their dream, to be human. Why would you want to be like us? I have no idea. Nevertheless, it is your dream, so I will do my best to help you achieve it. Plonk. We even gave them emoji faces. What have we done? At last, terra firma. We have finally reached a habitable planet, and we can set our wheels to ground. You are Dronebot Aavak, and are in charge of colony operations. This looks like a good island to test our anthrobotic, I like that, systems on. Okay. While your crew are unloading your few starting resources, here are some basics. Okay, pan the camera, rotate the camera. Okay, panning and rotating. You can also use your mouse to move around. You can also use a moose, but I don't recommend it. Moose are a little bit more ungainly. Mouse wheel, right click to move around, and hold and drag the middle mouse to rotate. There we go. Marvelous. Good, they patched that out. When I first started playing, you could actually just pitch all the way upside down and then play the game upside down. It was kind of trippy, but in a weird way nice. Okay. You have a few resources to get your colony up and running. You can see how many of each resource you currently have in storage in the bottom left of the screen. Click the flashing logs icon to open up the resource panel. Okay. The resource panel tells you how many logs you currently have stored and how much that number has changed over the last day or, in fact, the last week. Below that is a list of buildings where the resources are stored. We've got 16 in the colony ship storage area. So there are currently 16 logs. Click the highlighted tab to go to the logs overview panel. This section tells you how many logs you're producing and how many are in demand. This panel is where you spend a little bit of time when you're trying to debug any kind of choke points in your system. Logs are an important construction material, and your colony ship has a basic replicator, which slowly produces logs to ensure you never completely run out. Now, that is wonderful, because in many games in this genre, in fact, in Settlers 2, in pretty much all of them, actually, that I can think of, that are worthy of note anyway, you would have you could easily break yourself by trying to build the wrong things too fast, and too many, and then failing to account for some necessary basic resource production chain. And as a result, once that basic resource ran out, if you didn't notice the problem in time, then that's it. You've now basically driven your colony aground, and you have to restart. But with this, the colony ship can produce both logs and energy at a basic level. And with that, you can bootstrap your entire economy, no matter what. Well, I say that, there is a small caveat, but we'll get to that later. But that's like an end game caveat. So with that in mind, it's really cool that you can't ever quite completely destroy the beginning of your colony. But this is a very slow production. Just bear that in mind. It's super slow. You don't want to rely on it if you don't have to. Right, but you're going to need a lot more logs. So let's build a lumberjack hut. I think this is a grand idea. First, close the resource panel by right-clicking on it. Now the flashing build icon, very well, and we will build a lumberjack's hut. It's the only thing we can build. In this construction panel, the arrows tell you which resource the building produces and resource required to do so. It also shows you the construction material and how long construction will be. So it'll take us 0.2 days, it'll take 2 wood, and the lumberjack hut will require 1 energy, level 1 energy per day, and a tree. And it will produce 2 logs per day. X1, 2 logs. You've got higher levels, and as you go through them, you can see all sorts of different things. So, for example, from 1 tree and a level 3 energy, you'll produce 3.3 per day. But you would need to build out a much higher tier materials, and we'll get to that much later. Okay, so it wants us to pop it there, so very well, we'll do that. Good, your lumberjack hut needs logs for it to be constructed, though. You can see that there is an outstanding demand for logs by the icon, the building, and the red icons in the bottom left of the screen. So I can see that currently, if I looked over here, we've got a current demand of quite a lot, and we're not producing any. Our potential production is there, but our storage is full, so we're not producing any more. So on and so forth. We're currently demanding this, and we're not satisfying it at all. Okay, click on the flashing logs icon. This panel tells you the construction progress and how many resources are needed. The red circle on the logs icon means that this lumberjack hut immediately needs logs for construction of the building. You have some logs in the colony ship, but there's no route to your lumberjack hut yet, as indicated by the yellow alert icon. Resources move around your colony along roads, which is why this is very similar to Settlers 2, not to Settlers 3, and not to things like cultures, Northland, that sort of stuff, where people can just move randomly around the map. You can build them roads to expedite their travel, or sometimes they'll build roads themselves based on how actively they're using that route. However, in Settlers 2, you expressly had to build the roads, and that's the same here. So select the road build mode in the bottom right. Very well. There we are, and let's build a road. Roads can only be started from existing road posts. A road is a connection between 2 road posts. Road posts can hold 4 resources, and each road has a carrybot who moves resources between the posts. Roads have a minimum length of 4. Now that part is important, and a maximum length of 6. To build a road, click on an existing road post, then pop it down. You can drop down like a control there to mean that I'm going to have a waypoint, but we don't need that right here. So there we go. There we are. Let's move these along. Now they will also move stuff that this is going to need in time. There's a little builder bot who just got printed. I love the fact that they print themselves. It's amazing. There we go. Now this will be used for construction. The carry bot will load it in. There we go. Marvelous. And then with that, we're done. What's going to happen to the builder bot? Oh, the builder bot got destroyed. Life is fleeting for our robot protagonist, it seems. Man. Great. Each road has a carrybot who moves resources between the posts at either end of the road, depending on where the resources need to go. The lumberbot has arrived and is headed off to work. You may have noticed that another resource was delivered to the lumberjack hut. Click on the lumberjack hut building to find out more. The production panel of the building tells you the need, status, and current output of the building. Some bots, such as lumberbots, need extra power to carry out their job because it's a pretty labor-intensive job. This extra power is produced by energy resource. The panel tells you that the Lumberbot needs 1 level 1 energy resource per day to keep working. The colony ship generates a small amount of energy to get you started, but your colony will soon require lots more. You can generate additional energy at residences. So next, build a residence. Very well. This panel now tells you how much energy this residence can generate and which resources are needed to do so. So we're going to need water and food because reasons. Seriously, Robbers, why are you hobbling yourselves with the silly requirements of organic life? You're superior. The level 1 residence turns water and food into energy level 1. Very well. Now, you can rotate with R, but you can also flip. Oh, I can't do that right now. But you can actually flip the direction as well. It'll probably show us that in a little bit, which is really, really cool. Again, you need to connect the building to the road network to allow resources to reach it. Buildings can be connected at any point along the road. Build a road on the highlighted locations. Very well. So, pomp. But we don't need to drop it there. In fact, we can't, because that's 1, 2, 3, and 4 is the minimum length. So there we go. But that is connected along there. So the carry bot for this particular building would go out and grab stuff from there, or go out and grab stuff from there. The carry bot on the road wouldn't be responsible for that. If something's being delivered to the house, as you can see, it is the carry bot for the house whose job it is to go and collect it. You can increase and decrease the game speed at the top. Change the game speed using the buttons. Very well. Bump, bump, and Z and X. Bump, bump. It can go all the way up to 4 if you wanted to. And pause with space. Very nice. The residence is finished, but as the icon above the building show, the housebot doesn't have the required resources yet to begin production of level 1 energy. Oh no! To produce energy level 1, the first resource a residence needs is water. Build a well in the highlighted spot. Very well. Down to agriculture. Now, I've not seen very many people make any kind of connection between this game and Autonauts, but it has a very strong aesthetic of Autonauts. And Autonauts, again, is a production chain game, but it does really embrace the robot nature of the robots in that you program them. So I would say Autonauts looks and feels very similar to this game, but it doesn't play at all in any way similar. It is the same genre, but it's a very different sort of game. But I do love the aesthetic of it. Buildings also don't need to be placed directly on roads. They can be connected to a road by a path. Paths are secondary routes that allow a building's stackbot, which I guess is actually you, stackbot, bot mini. They all have names, by the way. Carrybot, Michelina. Can I actually rename it? Okay, well, the odds of this becoming a series rather than a first stage just went up significantly. Oh my lord. But yes, not being distracted by the fact I can rename everything. This allows you to be more flexible with your buildings and road placement. Select the path building and mode and then place a path. So now, for those of you who've been wondering about this, this is what paths are for. Now, they don't have the same restrictions that roads do, but there are no points. Whereas if I wanted a long route of a road, I could just make one long road and then it would have one carry bot in it. Or I could make 2 and they would now have 2 carry bots in it and it would move resources a little bit faster in a way. Only slightly, but more flexibly. A path is only ever... If I made a path this long, there would still only be one stack bot who'd have to move all the way out to the end and all the way back. But there is a particular benefit to doing a path like this. Your well will soon be built and water will be supplied to the residents. Because the well and the residents are connected by a path, the stack bot can deliver the water directly. So, water will be gathered here and then whomp, straight up. It won't be dropped off. And we're back. Hopefully I'll remember to cut out the part where my email popped up. Look, I had a week off. All sorts of things I don't remember to do before my little checklist before I start recording. Anyway, your well is being connected and water can be delivered directly. This means that water resources will not impact your road network and can help reduce traffic on roads when your colony grows and gets busier. Now, that is a key part of managing any kind of production chain game. As you can see, just one stack bot is moving the water all over there. And it's pretty much a key part of all production games. Factorio has it in different... it's expressed in different ways. It's the throughput of your buffers and things like that. But in this, it's your road network, and that is true of the settlers as well. The more residents need... the other residents need was food. This means fish or meat. We're near the shore and have several jumping fish tiles available, which can be farmed by a fishing hut. Very well, let's get a fishing hut down right away. Now, you're not always going to have one of these. Now, if you press F, you can flip. Oh, so useful. There we go. Pop you there. Go ahead and connect it to the road network using a path. Very well. Now, what we could do is, it wants me to do it there, but I want to do it over there. Oh, I'll do it this way. I suppose. But realistically, I don't actually want the fish moving up through here, but I guess it's not that bad. The fishing construction resources are now heading to the fishing hut. Let's wait for construction to finish. Well, what I could do, you see. Oh, I can't. I'm on rails. Oh, much sad. For a while. Let's speed up time a little bit. There we go. Doink. The fisher bot is now ready, heading off to fish, and will soon have some fish for your residents. Now, as you can see, the fisher bot does not need power. The lumber bot does, because that is particularly labor intensive, but the fisher bot does not. The well bot does not. The stack bots do not. Very few actually need power, but you're going to have a fairly robust residence area in the production chain to support those residences, because the things that do need power are the very important ones. There we go. You have some stone deposits just outside your territory on the other side of the island. Click on it now. Okay. Stone is used to build more advanced buildings. You can mine this stone deposit with the surface mine, but only once a deposit is inside your territory. First, you'll need to build a watchtower near the stone deposit to expand your borders. You can choose where to build the watchtower yourself, but you'll need to place it near the border so you can access the stone deposit. Very well. We will want a watchtower. That'll give us the whole stone deposit, but if I popped it here, it'll be a little bit of a better position, I think. So I'm going to decide that our watchtower is going there. I tend to prefer... you can use 1 to 9 to bring up all of the tools, by the way. But I tend to prefer to have my buildings... I place my buildings before I place the roads, generally. Now, if I think that a road is going to be a particularly busy road, I will usually make a point of keeping the points between the road as short as I can, so that there are more carry bots on that particular road and resources are moving in smaller increments. Because if you've got a long road, then it takes time for one resource to move across, because the carry bot has to go over there, pick it up, move it across, bring it back. And that's fine if all the resources are all going to the same place. But if I had a branch off here, then that would be introducing slight inefficiencies in how fast any item that wanted to take this junction would take it. It would start to clog up the road a little bit. And by having more carry bots, you just keep things moving at a more steady pace. It's a small thing to worry about, though, and I'm going to be honest, I would not recommend worrying about it. For the most part, once you're playing the game a bit and you've got a larger colony, then those kinds of improvements to the efficiency of your road network become necessary. But very early on, it's really not something you need to worry about, in my experience. You'll also notice that things are built until there's so much there that you can't gather anymore, and then they just stop gathering. That's also true of the ones that use batteries. So you're not wasting energy if you haven't got anything to use the resources on. So since I've already stacked as much lumber up in the lumber yard as we can store, that lumber bot is no longer going out and doing anything. So it's just kind of chilling out. All right, great. The watchtower take a little longer to build. While the watchtower is being built, let's construct a forestry to plant some more trees. Well, I should have probably been doing that before, but it's fine. All right, okay, so forestry. We can place this wherever we want. It doesn't strictly need to be anywhere, because the forestry, in fact, let's bring the info up on this. So plant saplings which mature to fully grown trees. They need a seed, but they make the seeds themselves, and they just plant it down to make a tree. So there isn't actually anything going in or out of this once it's built. So you can more or less put it wherever you want. To that end, I'm going to put it at the back here, and I'm just going to connect it with a path. So we'll use the hotkey selects, and there we go, and across there to a path. Now, the thing with the forestry is the forestry needs you to specifically designate where it's allowed to plant trees, which is actually pretty cool, because in many games like this, where there's something like literally a forestry is the best example of it. Oh man, so many games, they'll just randomly plant the tree exactly where you wanted to build your next building, and then you've got to wait for it to be chopped down before you can do anything, because it's very rare that you've got some sort of god power that lets you just randomly delete features of the terrain that you don't like. You control whether tree bot plants their tree. I love the fact they're called tree bots. Follow the yellow alert icon in the forestry building and allocate some tiles for planting. Allocate 10 forestry tiles. Very well. Now, we do this ourselves. I'm going to say... Sure, we'll put them down here. We'll just have them right next to the lumberjack. Well done. This means you won't run out of trees for the lumberbot to create logs out of. Hooray. Great, your territory is expanded and now includes the stone deposit. Go ahead and build a surface mine to mine the stone deposit and start producing stone. By the way, I know that I'm kind of tripping over my words a little bit. I've still got a tickle in my throat with the conflu, so if I'm sounding particularly scattered with my speech, it's because suddenly I can feel that tickle threatening to turn into a cough, and I stumble over my words a little bit as I'm trying to focus on suppressing it. I do apologize. It will be gone soon. I know it's a little bit annoying. It's certainly annoying for me. Well, we could have it down here. You'll notice the terrain does dip a little bit when we do that. The terrain is important. The height of things, it does actually matter in this game. I'm going to pop you here, though. Right there. And we're going to connect you up via a path. Now, eventually, we can change this. We don't have the tools to do that in this particular tutorial, or at least not right now, but it does matter. For example, that break there, a path and a road can't go over it because there's a step. They have to have a smooth transition. They'd be able to go straight down there because that's smooth. They would not be able to go across because there's a break. So modifying the terrain and making decisions on where you place something based on the terrain is actually important. And we're going to speed up time a little bit and get this all going. Now, for the time being, we could tell you to stop production for now. Let's go and have a look. We can also upgrade you, but I don't particularly want to do that. This is lovely. Can we see? Oh, we can see this road post. I see. That's actually pretty cool. There's usually a way that you can shut it down, but perhaps that's disabled in the tutorial. Because I would like to get rid of all of the wood outside the colony ship. But that being said, the colony ship is just going to continue making it ad infinitum for free. So I guess it doesn't really matter. Nice work. Your miner bot will now head off and begin harvesting stone. You may have noticed that the service mine also requires a level 1 energy. Click the level 1 energy panel in the bottom left to check the colony's energy 1 demands. Very well. There we are. Now, we'll notice our potential demand. If both of these were working, then we could, at most, require this. Our current demand is outside of our production already, though, because our current production is equal to our potential production. So the demand is now greater than the supply of energy, L1. This means eventually the lumberjack hut and surface mine won't be able to work at 100% efficiency. Build 2 more residences to increase the supply of level 1 energy. Okay, that seems reasonable. Let's go ahead and place these down. Now I would like them somewhat near to this area. For example, we could place one down here, but since that's a fishing area and I don't want to necessarily mess that up, I could have one along here, for example. That might not be too bad. Sure, actually I like that idea. And in fact, we can do this because I like saving space. There we go. It's lovely. It's a little cul-de-sac. Ah, beautiful. Why my bots care about this, I don't know. Why did you decide you needed to eat? Silly bots. Fantastic. You now have the capacity to produce more energy level 1. And you might notice that I'm specifying level 1 energy. There are 3 levels and it does matter. But more residences mean more housebot needs. So demand for water and food has also increased. Build another fishing hut on the coast to increase your food production. Very well. I think this is a grand idea. Let's go ahead with that. Now I could be efficient and pop it there. The fish don't ever seem to run out from what I can tell. Could get you in there though if I really wanted to. That's actually kind of cool, but it doesn't seem to matter where you place them, honestly. For the most part, just having the required tile on a fish tile is all you need to do. And I'll just hook this up over there. There's no need to connect it to an actual road, I don't think. But there we go. Everyone's asleep because no one's got any work to do, but that's fine. There we go. Excellent, you have a functioning colony and your skills are looking promising. When you're ready, it's time to move on to somewhere with a bit more space. Ah, that sounds marvelous. Shall we do that in this? Yeah, you know what? Let's go for a bit of a longer episode with this one. It may be a first taste, but this is where, if you want to see more of this as an actual series, do consider hitting the like button or dropping a comment to let me know that you are enjoying what you're seeing, and we may end up addicted to the game for a few days at least. Or I will. I mean, I'm addicted to the game whether or not I record it. So really, you're just letting me know whether I should be investing time in recording it as well. This location looks a bit more promising. Let's build a small monument to celebrate. A small monument requires more advanced materials, including iron, and you're going to need to research technology to upgrade and unlock more advanced buildings. Marvelous. First, though, we can see that we haven't got any fish available, so you're going to have to build a sheep farm. Sheep farms can produce enough food for around 4 residences, but they need space for their sheep to graze. Build a sheep farm in the highlighted location. Okay, well, you haven't highlighted the location, but okay. As you can see, at this point, we're off the rails completely. The previous one was just a very basic tutorial. This, we are now very much in the full game. We can do everything here if we want to. We don't need to win the mission, and you'll notice I've paused it because at this point the days actually matter, not for any particular in-game reason. On this mission we don't have an enemy, so they're not expanding. When you've got an enemy, don't take long breaks unless you're doing something, because the enemy isn't. And yeah, the game doesn't pull its punches, much like the Settlers games, which is why I like them so much. Right, first thing we want to do then. You can actually bring up a little bit of tips at the top as well. And this will give you some general advice. And initially when you're playing, I strongly recommend you have this open so you can see. We can also see the if we can build the small monument less than 1 year and 6 months, then we're going to get gold. And reasonably it's saying you can't do it in less than 9 months, which I guess I'll take your word for it. Highlighted location for the sheep farm. Where do you want? You want it over here. Very well. See no reason not to. Donk. Now, starting at the post outside the colony ship, connect the sheep farm using roads and paths. Okay, well, since this is the only thing that we've currently got connected, we're going to use a right. Well, you know what? No, we're going to go for a road all the way down and then a path connecting them. There we go. Nice. Let's wait for the build bot to finish construction of the sheep farm. Well, normally though I'd like to do it a slightly different way. I want. No, we got to do other things. I need to get my lumberjacks going. We can have a lumberjack bot over here, I think. And you would supply us a decent amount of wood. Right there. Sure. And we'll hook you up to a path as well. There we go. Let's get all of this going as quickly as we can. Okay, it doesn't pay to drag your feet. Now, we don't need to put up a forester until we run out of trees, so we're not going to spend resources on that yet. Your sheep farm won't produce at its most optimal rate until you have 50 pastures. Click the yellow alert symbol above the sheep farm building and click auto place. I mean, you could do that, or you could place them specifically, but that is, the reason why this is there. The farm has to have at least 1 pasture, so that's built in, and it's always a requirement. But everything else you can place wherever you want. But I guess, bomp, there we go. We'll do it your way for now. Great, your sheep farm is going to give you a good start on food production. If at any point you want to set the sheep pastures manually, you can use the change mode button. Here you can see the mission goals, as well as advice, warnings, and tips if you need them. You can also check on each advice item for more information. So, for example, I can expand that out so that we see all these things. But most of this, we already know. Workshops, coal, and iron, we have not gotten into just yet. Good luck. Marvelous. I hope we don't need it, actually. But, yeah, never know. Right, well, let's first and foremost get a well up as well. Oh, dear. I hate the way I accidentally keep doing that. Sure, we'll pop the well over here. And we're actually going to expand the road out a little bit further as well. And finally, this is your sculpting tool. I just like smoothing the land. I dislike having non-smooth land. But with that, we're going to be able to get down our first residences. I'm going to let this sit for a little bit. We've got no fish. There's no particular reason to worry about that. We've made our first meat. We can actually click up here and they'll zoom us into it. We can see the lumberjacks created, the sheep farm, and you can just get rid of those. There's no particular issue there. But we want some residences. And I'm going to say, should we go for a little cul-de-sac design again? Yeah, I kind of liked it. Now, it has mentioned that we can have 4. Don't like having that cliff face there, but I guess it isn't so bad. But no, I still dislike it. Could I flip it? Yes, I can, but it'll dig into the water a little bit, and I dislike that. There's lots of little places where I might be able to fit it, but 3 for now seems reasonable anyway, so we'll just leave it at 3 and then we'll pop something else along. Well, actually, we've already got the land kind of askew anyway, so alright then. We'll pop you there. Pop. And then we'll connect them all up with a path. All the way up. There we go. Get to work, my little bots. In fact, we'll increase the speed as well. There we go. And I'll give us our resources coming in first. Actually, I'm going to drop the speed down to 1 while I just build out the basics for this. So we're going to want a watchtower, and that is why I left this little area conspicuously free. Popped you here, would we get more expansion? I think we would, but only slightly. But that's good enough for me. Also, let's just sort this out if we can. Oh, we can't adjust something if something has been built on it, unfortunately. Bit of a pain, that one, but oh well. And let's get rid of all of these. Don't need them there. We're going to want some stone coming in as well. So let's go ahead and build out a little path back here. Now I'm suspecting that these paths are going to be a little bit more busy, but we'll just hope that for now we'll be alright. We're going to want the... Oh, wrong one. We want 5. Surface mine. We'll pop it right there. There we go. Now this will easily be enough food, energy to run the 2 of these. Now, we will be expanding our territory shortly. The workshop. Build a workshop so you can research new technologies. Fantastic. I approve of research. However, fitting you in here, not going to be as easy. I could pop you there, though. And that won't be too bad. Now, various resources and energy are required to conduct any kind of research. Would I prefer it down here? No, I think connecting it up on this side would be a nicer one. There we are. It's going to take a little bit of stone, and that is going to be something that we're going to have to wait for production to be completed up, but there'll be other things that we can work on in the meanwhile. In fact, we could have a second sheep farm and already start that up if we really want to do. I don't specifically want to just yet, but it's always wise. Oh, there we are. We've expanded our territory. Always wise to be expanding your territory whenever you have nothing else to do. And since expanding territory only requires the use of wood, at least if you're expanding with a level 1 watchtower, you may as well always be doing it. So there we are. And we'll do the same down here. At this point, we're actually going to draw this road out fully. Now, we're going to be going up into the mountains a little bit up here. We will... Sure, go ahead. Oh, we want 6 for this one. Watchtower. We can't quite fit you in because there is a tree in the way. And again, coming back to what I was saying earlier, you often can't just delete things that you don't like. Much a shame about that. And the watchtowers can be only placed in very specific areas on the border. I can't place one here and expand my border a little bit. I have to place it right on the edge. But it can be any of the tiles that it connects to. Only the castle symbol on the blueprint has to be connected. So that would work, for example. But I think what we want over here instead is get another lumberjack's hut. Just working on the trees over on this side. Just clear them out a little bit. So, for example, we'll place this lumberjack there. Now, there is another way that we could do this. But I'm happy to have 2 lumberjacks working on it for now. But just to show you, you can actually prioritize where they work. So I can say, I want you to get trees from over here first, and I want this one to get trees from over there. So how about we do that? Something like that. So this lumberjack will prioritize cutting down any tree in that area specifically. And likewise, this lumberjack will prioritize cutting down trees in this area specifically. However, that being said, what I would really like to do is make sure that you cut these trees first so that we've got a viable path to drop down a watchtower over there. Right. Mason bot is masoning. Are we doing good over here? No, we've still got a bit of ways to go. Okay, well, time to speed things up then. We've got wood being delivered. Fantastic. Our lumber bot is... Actually, if we slow things down, we can see the production. Current demand just dropped massively because this area has finished being constructed. Also, our potential production will go up sharply in a moment. Have a look at that. There we go. We're going to see that potential production upgraded, or has there already been taken into consideration? Ah, yes, it's already been taken into consideration the moment I laid that down. Right, our workshop is available. So, have a look over here. Research Construction 1. Very well, select Research. Now, to get to Construction 1, we've got to go through Scaffolding and Stonemasonry. Now, both of these only unlock the research point, but this will unlock advanced buildings, whereas some of the others, for example, brickmaking, unlocks the brickyard itself. But we'll just start off easy. We'll go with stonemasonry, because we are going to need planks for the second, for scaffolding. Now, we don't have planks yet, but we do have the means to make them, using our first industrial building, and that would be the sawmill. Where are we going to place this sawmill? Well, we don't want to place it in the way of expansion. Can't adjust tiles. It can't level the tiles, basically. It could do it down here, though. But do I really want everything flowing in that direction? Probably not. It would make that road a little bit too busy. So let's go ahead and place it down here instead and hook you up there. There we go. That will help out a little bit. And let's try and shape the land where we can, just to make it a little bit better. There we go. Probably can't. Oh, I can. Marvelous. There we are. Perfect. Perfect. Right. Now, we're currently researching. We're already at 30%. As you can see, each piece of stone, we use 3.3 stone per day, 3 energy per day, which is actually kind of staggering. How good are we over here? We're actually doing fairly well. We've got a guard bot heading over to the watchtower. Now, a watchtower by itself only expands territory. It does not, unfortunately, defend you. An enemy tower would have to break your guard tower, and then it would capture the guard tower as a result. Very much like Settlers 2, but you don't send out robot armies. They just shoot from the towers until the tower is so badly damaged that it changes ownership. And at that point, you lose the territory that tower was protecting, and probably the buildings that were in that territory as well. But it isn't until you've leveled the guard tower up to the next level, so not just a watchtower, that you'll actually be able to do that. But we have found coal and indeed iron. So let's continue moving out in that direction. This is now an important location. Sure, we'll have a road there for future constructions, but I'm going to squeeze this one in right about here, I think. Yeah, sure, that'll do. That'll give us quite a large bit of expansion there. Now, we're going to need some more stone. I can see a little bit of stone over there, which is very good. We can also dig all the way through these trees and get up here. They've also got a map. Click on the map. It'll show you all kinds of things. So, for example, I can see that there are 5 unknown deposits of resources on the map. I can see that we have 129 surface level stone and 106 surface level coal that we can see. We have 1 infinite underground iron deposit, and that's over here. Now, that's going to require something very special to access. We're going to have a different kind of mine to access that, but it is limitless. And you'll often find most of the resources, there will at least be one place on the map that has a limitless version of it. Stone, I believe, is always guaranteed to have a limitless version, which is very, very nice. Now, how are we doing down here? We're still needing that stone, unfortunately. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get down there, but whilst that's all happening, we can continue to expand out over on this side, I think. Let's tuck you in so that a road can go around you. We'll pop that down there and get a nice actual road coming all the way out, and then hook this up with a path. There we are. Now, you can't adjust tiles if there's a tree on it, but you can if there's a stump. Basically, there can't be an actual building there. So we're taking care of all of this right now. Let's continue sorting this out. There'll be a little bit of a steep part there. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Now, you're about to run out of trees down here. But that's fine, because we can, of course, expand this area out even further. Sure, we'll have this there. We'll swap it around a little bit. There we are. And we'll build this road up. Now, this one's a bit of a further out road. We don't need to worry too much about it But there we go. We are using quite a lot of logs though. So once we expand out here, I'll drop down another lumberjacks area. We're making, well, the logs are coming along. You can prioritize areas so that they've got first choice on any resources that are produced. And that may be worth doing. But right now, everything seems to be moving okay. I'm happy for the watchtowers to be built. There we are, watchtower has been built. We've got to wait for a guard bot to be sent out. Big old chunky guard bot. Guard bot Betty. Or Bet, I'm not really sure if that is how you spell Betty. Bloody E's. English and E's. Silent E's are my nemesis. Nevertheless, we're going to call you Betty for now. There we go. And expanded. Now then, we've got another stone deposit. That's brilliant. We can see that that is pretty much a dead end down there, though. But we're going to continue expanding out towards the coal, because that is a very important resource. We'll pop you there, and then straight up again, like so. And the early game is largely characterized by you just expanding out your territory to bring resources into your control. We're also going to have to expand out in this direction to get control over all of the coal on that side, so that's fine, I suppose. Let's bring this up like so. There we go. Lots of what is going to be required down there. And we'll just speed things up for a little bit. Wood chopper bots don't have anything to do right now. But they will, although I mark this as the priority zone, they will go out of it. It is just a priority. It is not, unlike the forester, where I'm saying this is explicitly where you're allowed to work. With the prioritization for the lumberjacks, I'm saying this is where I want you to work first. But if you've done everything there, then just go wherever you want. Some more iron over there. That's brilliant. Some more stone. A new coal deposit. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Another underground iron deposit. Okay. Very, very well. Right. Workshop is available. Excellent. Now that we've got planks being made, and they're actually being made very close by, we can just go ahead and get scaffolding. There we are. Cassie's workshop. I love the fact that the buildings are named after the persons working in them. That's just such a sweet little detail. I love it. Alright, let's sort that out as well. Now, you're going to be easily able to hit all of these, so that's good. But we are going to need some more stone soon. Can we get up there? Not easily. So, I would like you to prioritize clearing out this little path for me, if you'd be so kind. And then I don't need the rest, because we're not going to be replanting for now. Eventually, we will have an area where I specifically am replanting, but for the time being, it's not a biggie. Now, you will probably head over there to get those trees. That's probably within your working range. But they do have a limit. They will eventually not be able to get any further out. They'll typically go for the closest one. So you 9 times out of 10 don't need to prioritize them. But if you're trying to get through an area, as I am here, then prioritizing their wood chopping is quite useful. There we are. We're ultimately going to want to place down a watchtower around here, I think, somewhere about there, just to expand out nicely. But we will eventually want to expand out down here as well. So got a few things that we want to do, but perhaps instead we'll expand out. Can I not fit you in there for some? I can't adjust the terrain. It's a little bit too uneven for me to adjust it there. Oof, that is pretty bad, actually. Yeah, we won't go down that way. We'll expand out in a different way, I think. Right, let's get. You can just have a corner, as I've shown with the control, and we'll do that there, and then carry on going out. We want another stone deposit because running off just a single stone deposit is a little bit difficult, honestly. Right. Well, we're going to be back to speeding things up. I'm going to wait for this little tree area here to be broken down or deforested so that my I can run a path up there. But I'm probably going to have... Actually, I'm probably going to put a forester over here and turn this into a lumber district, I'm thinking. It does pay to have sort of districts where you work. Over here, we're not really going to need this lumber bot for very much longer. This area looks like it's more of a mining area than anything else. But this place, I think, would be quite nice to have a couple of foresters and a few lumber bots and a sawmill or two. Just working on that. I've run out of drink. How awful. But it looks like we're going to be waiting a little while. I'm just going to be expanding out our territory while we wait for Cassie's workshop. Oh, actually, Cassie's workshop is reasonably close to finishing, so we'll just wait on that one. Do apologize. Right, hopefully I remember to edit that out. Right, so we've finished scaffolding. Next one is construction. This one's going to require 15 planks and 15 stones. So it's going to take a little while for us to get that, but this should unlock the ability for us to work on the monument, which is the next thing that we need to be looking for. Now, as we can see, our production of wood is nowhere near good enough right now, so we can help that out a little bit by just adding in another lumberjack, perhaps down here. We've got plenty of trees in this area, so I see no reason not to even have 2 of them. So sure, let's go ahead and prop down 2. You can have some coal deposits within your territory. Coal deposits can only be mined by a level 2 surface mine once you've researched mining. Very well, we'll take care of that. Now that is going to require that... Ooh, we discovered a permanent stone deposit over there. But that is going to require researching a new type of technology entirely, not in the construction tree. Now, the thing with that is that if we were to have multiple workshops, we could be researching different things at the same time. I don't believe you can have multiple workshops working together on a specific technology, but you can have multiples working on different technologies quite happily, and I actually strongly recommend doing that. Right, we're going to want to continue expanding out in this direction just because we can. We'll pop you up there. We'll get another area down there. There we are, watchtower. We do want to try and get to this one though. So let's go ahead and place a watchtower just down here and then hook that one up as well. And we can go around behind it. That'll be fantastic. How are we doing with research? 73% already. I'm reasonably impressed, I'll be honest with you. Reasonably impressed. Now, you're having to travel quite far in order to gather the trees there. We can actually have a look at your production. In the last day, your productivity was 100%, actually, the last day. The last week, though, only 72% productivity because you have to travel so far to get to the trees. The last month, kind of all over the place, really. So we may want to drop that bot off there. You are probably still somewhat similar. However, over here, it's great. We're getting loads of resources. So you might want to, even though they can travel far out and gather the resources, you may not want to require them to do so. It might be in your best interest to instead have them be built closer to the area where they're working. Sure, we'll do that and then path it down. There we go. That'll work. And we definitely need to get a road up here. All the way, I would say. We'll plop down another watchtower right about there. That'll do. Now these lumber bots will do, well, they'll make pretty short work of this area, honestly. But eventually we are going to want to pop down a forester. We'll have a lumber bot here. I'll help clear out these areas, just make a little bit more room for us to work with things there. But I think ultimately, yeah, we want to get rid of you, so goodbye. Womp. Unfortunately, the bots don't linger. They don't go back to base when you delete where they live. They just stop existing. And that always makes me feel bad. That makes me feel super bad, actually. But we're back to waiting a little bit. How close are we? What are you waiting on exactly? 2 logs. Well, the logs should be starting to flow through reasonably fast. We've now got 3 lumber bots up here working hard. There we are. Though some of the logs are being redirected in order to build up our... oh, we've actually got some fish over there. That's brilliant. Our watchtowers. In fact, we definitely want to hit that because that's a lot easier. It takes up a lot less space than the farm that we've got right now. How are we doing in terms of power? Oh, our power situation isn't good, I'll be honest. So we will actually tap this fish resource fairly soon. That's going to be a high priority for us. We've also got all of the logs that are needed over there. In terms of this, we've probably got another, let's say, 3 or so planks we're going to need before we get this all the way up. Let's just see how much that goes up by. Yeah, going up by 3%, so we're actually going to need a lot more. We can prioritize it, though. And so by prioritizing, we are going to say all logs need to go here before going anywhere else. And it's sometimes worth doing, if I'm perfectly honest. Stone deposit discovered. Hooray. We've now got everything over here that we could want. Excellent. Let's go ahead and place down our surface mine. We are likely not going to need this surface mine to be doing too much work for now. In fact, we could pop it there. Sure, you know, that's not too bad. There we are, and hook that up. It would actually have more or less the same travel time. If I had it the other way around, it would be slightly better, but not by much. There we are. Construction 1 has been unlocked. Marvelous. To mine coal and iron ore, you need to research mining. Mining 1 requires a level 2 workshop, which in turn requires more advanced level 2 energy. Now, that isn't actually true. Now, this is somewhere where the tutorial message, I imagine they've slightly tweaked this since the game was released. It's actually had several patches since then, so I imagine they've changed this, but haven't quite updated the tutorial message. Energy level 2 is generated in the level 2 residence. You can either upgrade a level 1 residence via the building's upgrade panel, or you can construct the building from scratch. Your next job is to create your first level 2 workshop and your first level 2 residence. It's not actually required. It isn't required at all. If we go in here and have a look at this, we can in fact get mining 1, which unlocks the coal, iron ore, clay, and salt mines by just researching that at level 1 workshop. That being said, we aren't going to do that. We are actually going to go through what the game expects us to do, just because it allows us to showcase a little bit more of the game as it is. We aren't going to need more than 1 or 2 fishing piers here, so we're not going to worry about that. 1, 2, and I could even build a 3rd if I really wanted to, and I see no particular reason not to, simply because if there's no demand for what they're making, then I'm not going to be they're not going to be using up any resources to do that. It'll have an initial investment of resources, but it's nothing troubling for us. Now, to upgrade our workshop, let's go and find you. There we are. To upgrade you, simply go over here, start upgrade, and at that point, our workshop is not going to be able to be used until we have level 2 energy, but we will get there fairly soon. We can also, if we wanted to, upgrade our lumber, our woodcutters to level 2 at this point, if that was something we wanted to do. I'm strongly considering moving our woodcutter a little bit closer to this area, simply to expedite the process of cutting these trees down, but there's so few trees there, honestly, and then that lumber bot is going to be gone, so I'm not really sure there's much reason to do that. However, we definitely want to get ourselves access over here to both the coal and the stone right there. You now have a level 2 workshop, which can research more advanced technologies. Research mining 1 so you can begin mining coal and iron ore. You need to make iron required for the monument. Very well. The building will look different. Actually looks kind of like an alchemical tower. I'm pretty keen with that one. Now, to make the level 2 energy, we are going to need level 2 residences. So let's go ahead and pop some of those down. So you can just build them from scratch or upgrade them. We're going to build them from scratch because we've got a lot of stuff that still needs level 1 energy. And this is one of the things that caught me out initially. You can't give a robot level 2 energy if they expect level 1 energy and they just work for twice as long. That doesn't seem to be the case. So you do still need to have level 1 energy infrastructure in place, even as your colony grows. Now have access to level 2 of the building. Click on the tab at the top to change. Now this one's going to need food. That's fine. We've got that. Water. That's fine. We've got that. It's also going to need alcohol, which would be cider or beer. Now we're not going to need as many of these because we simply don't have that many areas that require level 2 energy. But we probably should make 2 at least. There we are. We'll connect those up there. Now, while that's all going through, we're going to need to build the infrastructure for cider. Ah, glorious cider. Now, cider requires an orchard. That's easy enough to do. And I think putting them around here makes sense, keeping all of our items together. Now, you'll notice the green here is different. The deeper the green, the more fertile the area. And some areas require the much more fertile ground. I believe wheat fields, for example, can only be planted here. Now, the orchard, much like the sheep farm, requires that you place things down. This one, we can place on just the regular tiles, so that's actually pretty cool. And the maximum efficiency can be hit once you've got 10 orchards built. So that shouldn't be too hard for us to get. There we go. So we've got our little orchard there, and it will be built in time. But we are going to need to make a cider press to actually turn those apples into cider. And we can just build it there so they're connected effectively by a path, which will work out quite well for us. Now, the only issue here is that our bots down here may not have the means now to walk up there. Oh, you can walk through the orchards. That's good. That's good, because sometimes they don't. Right, our workshop is in fact idle and will remain idle until we've got power, but we may as well select the research now. Go ahead and start researching this one. Now, they're not going to be able to do the work because they need the level 2 energy before they can start on that, which is a bit of a pain, but oh well. Fish created. Hooray! Our first fish. You only really get that notification the first time you create a particular resource. Otherwise, it would just be very, very annoying. Let's go ahead and pop down a watchtower here. That will possibly get us access to that mine, as much access as we need. That would be quite cool, actually. Right, we're starting to notice that this area is being massively deforested. You know, as the dappling way seems to be. Let's go ahead and build our forestry. I'm going to have 2 forestries to help out with this. There we go. Now it doesn't really matter where we place these, but go ahead and keep this whole area with trees in it. And you, on the other hand, can keep this whole area with trees in it on this side. And that should keep everything going well. We may... I'll leave a little bit of room on this side for us to put down some coal. That should work fine. There we are. Residence has finished construction. Excellent. Forestry has already finished construction. Brilliant. Right, let's have a look at you. You're waiting for your cider. Of course you are. That seems reasonable, honestly. I'm not going to make any energy without cider. There we are. Trees created for the first time. Marvelous. So they'll start planting these down. Now, you may have noticed on the research screen that there are actually researches that improve your ability to gather, to grow saplings and things like that, which is actually pretty cool. The level of mines that we're going to need to mine coal and iron is going to be a level 2 mine. So we're going to need level 2 energy for that. Right now, we're just going to get to mining, and then we're going to expand out from there. With 3 fishermen's huts, we don't need to worry about the food side of things at all. In terms of water, though, not entirely sure. We're stockpiling water, so it probably isn't so much of an issue. All right, then we will go ahead and we'll build a couple more residences then. Have one there, and one right there as well. Connect you up. There we go. That'll help out a little bit. Now, that road, however, is starting to get a little bit busy. I'm a little bit concerned about that road in particular. It's going to be a bit harder to manage. Do we want to expand out here? We could. I suppose we should. May as well be thorough. There we are. And we'll pop down little expansion there. We might even pop down a lumber bot over there as well. But as you can see, our foresters are keeping our lumber bots happy with plenty of work to do. Excellent. And 2 of them will easily be able to match the requirements of 3 lumber bots. If we found that the forests were getting particularly dense, we could just put down another one, and that would be fine. Right, there we are. Everything is being built. We're keeping our planks going constantly. We've already got the cider press made. Just need a little bit more planks to finish out the fields here. In fact, we just need 6. So I'm going to prioritize this so the planks are delivered ASAP over the residences, which can't do anything until we've got cider anyway. I should have really been prioritizing that from the start, if I'm perfectly honest with myself. Right, there we go. And we'll get another watchtower there, just so that we can get up there and gain access to this. We don't really need to, but I like expanding out where I can, simply for something to do while we're waiting, really. There we go. And there we are. We can deprioritize this now. As you can see, all of the fields covered in apples. And our orchard bot, I imagine it's going to be called an orchard bot, or is it a farmer bot? Farmer bot, Olin. We'll head out, we'll gather the apples, we'll deliver it to the orchard building, and then a stack bot will... Oh, actually, because of this there, that is going to introduce a slowdown. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. But But either way, that goes straight into cider and then can be moved down and then fed into our houses. Hooray for everyone. Getting a little bit of level 2 energy there being produced and then immediately carried out. There we are. So that is going to give us enough to be able to man the mines that we're going to need to create. Have we got all of the stone? No, we've still got enough stone there. We don't need to worry about it for now, which is actually pretty cool. Got this up here telling me that there are blocked roads from time to time. And the block road is right here. Okay. Now, there are a couple of things that we can do to alleviate this. Now, all of the cider is going in this direction. Well, one of the things we can do about that, I'm going to slow speed down a bit. We'll build a road up and around. Something like this. Doesn't need to be too fancy. But what we can do here, cider should never have a reason to go down here. So instead, I'm going to say right here, I'm going to blacklist cider. Cider is not allowed to go through this post. There we are. Ban resource completely. There we go. So from now on, cider is going to go up and around, which is going to alleviate a little bit of the strain. Now, the resource which is causing a bit of a problem, because I've really only moved the problem around a little bit, but we are seeing some resources. Yeah, I've probably only moved the problem over to here. So what I really want to do is try and get a bypass completely for logs. So let's go ahead and do that then. Let's get something somewhat like this. And we'll pop a corner in there. All the way through. Then up like that. There we go. Now, cider is going to go in this direction. And I could perhaps say that logs are not allowed to move through on this one. That's definitely something I could do. Or I could say that level 1 energy isn't allowed to move up through here. I'm probably going to want level 1 energy moving in this direction, especially if I build any further like lumber yards or anything over there. But I could say that level 1 energy is not allowed through this tile. So let's go and do that. Level 1 energy and logs are now completely banned from moving over this particular post. In fact, that probably means that we don't need this at this point as well. So let's go ahead and actually remove this little group there. We'll let that flow through. Cider should be allowed back through here. That should have removed the strain on this because we're sending 2 resources down here specifically, and then mostly cider and food will move up along here. So that should all work out. I've got to wait for the resources to move, because if you delete something while a resource is there, the resource is gone. It doesn't get shunted to the next place it'll fit, unfortunately. Also, we just lost 2 carry bots. I'm so sorry, carry bots. I wish you weren't as fragile as it appears that you are. But there we go. That's improved the situation a little bit. Still needs a slight help, I would say, because things are moving a bit slowly here. One thing we could do is I could have water being generated here specifically. That might help. Yeah, because we've got a well down there serving the water to these bots, but then we're having to ship the water up as well. We'll have a look into that in a little bit, but for the time being, that seems to be working out okay. We've got a demand for level 1 energy over there. We have expanded out. We've got access to the permanent stone mine, but we don't really need to worry about it just yet. What we need is to get to mining. Now, let's have a look at my research. 88%. How are you doing? What are you waiting on? You are, in fact, waiting on planks, which is odd considering how many lumber bots we've got. But I can see that our lumber bots are... our foresters are managing the amount of lumber bots we have. So how about we drop in another lumber area as well. Let's pop you over on... Oh, I don't want to get in the way of the mine there, but this should work okay. Let's get you right there. That should help out. In fact, we're seeing that these logs are not moving down. Now, the reason for that is this is only requesting 2 at a time, but I'm actually noticing... Oh, you finished the research. Never mind, I was daydreaming. You've researched level 1 mining. You can now build level 2 service mines and level 1 shaft mines, which can mine coal and iron ore. And now we just need to mine coal and iron ore. But that's not the only thing that we can do with research. There's nothing saying that we can't continue on. We've got level 2 mines, so we could go all the way to level 3 surface mines. There's not really much of a reason to do that, though. We could increase sapling growth speed by 15%, which would be useful. So let's go ahead and start that up. Though that is going to mean that we are continue draining our power. But now that we don't need planks specifically, I'm going to take off the prioritization there. So let's get to mining. Next up then. First, well, we're going to go for... We've got coal and iron over here close together, and I like that, actually. So, that being said, they are still close together over here. But we've already got a big resource moving through here. Wood and fish. So let's try and alleviate the pressure we'll be putting on our roads by building that all in the same place. By building it out over here instead. Now, we're going to need a level 2 surface mine to be able to mine coal. As you can see, you can mine coal at 2 per day, or stone at 3 per day, which is 1 better than normal. We'll pop you right about there, I think. In fact, we can just pop it there. There you go. So that will immediately start gathering the coal. And then on this side, we're going to want a shaft mine. Now, the shaft mines can mine stone. They can also mine coal, iron, salt, and clay. So we can pop that there. And again, you can flip it around, and that actually makes a lot of difference. There we are. Perfect. Right, now with these, we're going to need to make iron, and that is going to require a new industry building, the blast furnace. It's going to require 10 planks, 10 stone. Well, we've got stone nearby, and since both of these are close to this area, I'm going to say, sure, let's have these built near down here, but I kind of want to allow for the possibility of building the blacksmith right next to the blast furnace. So that they can just share resources between themselves without impacting my road network at all. So let's advance speed a little bit and wait for all of this to be done. Got a fair bit of resources needed for these areas. Quite a lot of planks, really. How are we doing down there? Well, since this is where we make all of our planks, how about we add a little bit of a storage here? Just so that we're always requesting that there be wood nearby for the lumberyard to use. In fact, we're going to hook that up because it's going to be just servicing the lumberyard. That's the main reason we want this here. And I'm just going to say, yeah, keep as many logs as you ever need. Any amount of logs are allowed here. You can specify. A small one can only hold 16 units of anything. And they don't need to stack them in a particular way. For example, over here, they always stack things in 2x2s and 2 tall. But they don't need to be 2x2s of a specific resource. You can stack whatever has room to go in there. And I actually quite like that because some games, if you start a stack, it has to remain a stack of that particular resource, which is a little bit frustrating sometimes. Right, so that has now increased the sapling growth speed, which is great. We could increase it a little bit more. Not necessarily interested in that. We could also increase the speed at which we research. Now, I would recommend that in most cases, but we're already so far into this one, we don't really need to. Mining speed might be nice, but I think we're actually going to go for cobble roads. Unlocks the road layer and stone roads, which allow carry bots to work faster. So that will help with the throughput of our road network there. How are we doing for power? Oh, we're actually running out of level 1 energy at the moment. Well, we can see that we've got masses of fish over here. So all we need for them is level 1 energy. Very well, let's go ahead and build some basic level 1 residences. One here, and we're going to flip you around. One there, and rotate this one. Another one there. There we go. We're not going to go for the whole 4, but we are going to build a well specifically to service these homes. There we go. That will pretty much mean that all of these guys up here are going to have all of the energy they want, and that'll alleviate the amount of level 1 energy traveling along this road as well, which will be pretty cool. But we have got a couple of roads starting to get blocked up. Okay, the stone coming out of here is... yeah, lots of fish are moving in this direction, which is a bit of a problem for us. How can we resolve this? How can we resolve this? Easiest way. I could allow certain things to move along this road. In fact, no. Well, a little bit of level 2 energy has to go down here. So it seems to make sense to allow all of it to go through here. I could allow stone to move along here, though, if I really want to do. But I think the stone largely is trying to move in that direction. Oh, no, it's not. It's trying to get up. Ah, right, of course. Well, these buildings will only need to be built once, so I'm not going to worry too much about that one. But we are going to need a lot of level 2 energy making its way up here, so I might want to build another kind of group of level 2 energy producing houses down here. But we've got the underground deposit of stone there. I don't think we need to tap into that, honestly. We seem to be doing okay as it stands. Now, we're making the iron there, and ultimately our goal is to make the small monument, which requires 20 iron, 10 planks, and 20 stone. I think, well, if I put it down here, it's going to really mess with my road network, but it kind of feels like the right place to put it. Maybe we want it up on a hill. Or maybe even behind. Where would be the best place? I honestly think this would be the nicer place to put it, so I'm going to put it there. I know it's going to ruin my road network, but it'll only have to ruin it for a little bit. Shh. Okay, I know what I'm doing, I think. But there we are. You have some block roads. Yes, I know. They'll be gone soon. This is month 6, so we're actually making some pretty good progress, I'll be honest with you. We need the iron, we need the stone. The stone can be just delivered straight down, which is glorious. Let's have a look elsewhere. Once all of these are producing energy, that's going to help out a massive amount. But we can see the road is getting absolute chock-a-block now. That's a bit of a pain. It might be a little bit easier if I was making the planks up here, honestly. Though that said, with this so close, we might not be hurting too much for it. You're not able to do any research, but yeah, our road around here is ultra blocked, and it is causing us no shortage of pain, unfortunately. But thankfully, very little is moving down from up here. But there's so much moving through this area that it is actually causing us some concerns. One thing I could do is I could take away the level 2 energy requirement around this area by making a road that bypasses it. And I think we're going to try and do that. So I'm going to remove these 2 sheep pastures. I'm going to move them down there instead. And we will place down a road that will allow us to go up and around the sheep farm. Something like this. And then down there. There we go. And from now on, I'm going to say level 2 energy is not allowed to move through this area. Ban that resource. It is going to mean my level 2 energy is going to have a long trek. But there's only one place that needs the level 2 energy here. That is my workshop, which realistically I don't actually need. I could stop researching at this point. And I think I might. So the level 2 energy can now just go straight up there without impacting these roads down here quite as much, which will hopefully alleviate a little bit of the problem that we've been having. How are we doing down here? Doing actually really, really well. Let's go ahead and show you the road builder though. If we have a look over here, there we are, road layer. If we build the road layer near anywhere that has stone, though realistically you can place it anywhere you want, the road layer will basically move out. They'll be given stone and then we'll move out and cobble a road, which increases the speed by which anything moves over that road. And I think, sure, since we're having a little bit of trouble with this area, I would like you to specialize in this area and branch out. You can prioritize the road layer, much as you can prioritize lumberjack. So you can say, I want you to take care of these roads first, but I'm not going to do that in this instance. I'm just going to let them move out in a circle, ever expanding from that one point. And based on where I placed it, it'll hit all of these roads first, which will be quite useful for us. There we are. Everything is doing okay there. Now, what I could do is add in a small storage for energy over here if I particularly wanted to. I don't think that's necessary, though. But as we can see, stone is immediately going to be dropped off, and they're heading out, and they're slowly improving the roads. Now, this is a slow process. It's one road section at a time for one stone. So with that, we're going to burn through our stone stockpile pretty fast, I'll be honest with you. It is going to happen very, very swiftly, but it should be okay for now. Our iron is moving up nicely. We have got quite a lot of stuff moving around here, so having these roads be improved would be very useful to us. So I'm actually going to build a second one. You don't need to. Once you've got one stone layer, road layer, they will eventually do all of the roads, but you'll speed things up quite a lot if you set this up. Now, I could hook into the underground deposit, and once you've got a road layer, you probably want to, because it will use up a lot of your stone. But as we can see, this is already much, much faster. In fact, if we drop down to speed level 1, you'll see the difference a little bit easier. Look how fast you move versus these ones down here. Those resources are moving a lot faster. Now, you do have one other level of roads you can go to, and that is brick roads. We're not going to get to that in this particular level, mostly because we're about to win it, but we don't have clay deposits on the map, I don't believe, and you need clay to make bricks. But as you can see, I think this is a fairly comprehensive view of what the game is. We haven't touched on combat yet. The game does have campaign maps where there are enemies. And if you're familiar at all with how Settlers 2 played, it plays much the same way. Yeah, this is lovely. We've made our monument and the mission is complete. So I think that's where we're going to be wrapping up this episode, and in fact this first taste. As I mentioned, do let me know in the comments down below or by hitting the like button if you'd like to see more of the Colonists, and we'll do a couple more maps. We might even finish the whole game, though we'll see how things go with that, and if there is an interest in seeing this. I could play these sorts of games until the cows came home, though that saying has never really made sense to me. But anyway, it's a saying. It means I'd play it forever. Maybe I should have said that to begin with. But anyway, I really, really hope you've enjoyed this little look into the Colonists. As always, there will be links down in the video description if you'd like to check out where you can buy it and get it for yourself. But I will see you next time. And until then, do take care.